Okay, so how to approach immunobullous disorders in MCQ? So let us quickly go through it. This will be very helpful. So right, so solve the clinical scenario. Flaccid bulla, erosions. You see oral ulcers and you see acantholytic cell. Now you know the diagnosis. It is pemphigus. Which type of pemphigus? Vulgaris or foliaceous? Foliaceous? No, it's vulgaris. Right. Moving on, we have scale crust in seborrheic pattern, upper chest, face and scalp, and we have no oral ulcers. Right, no oral ulcers, but we have acantholytic cell. The moment you hear acantholytic cell, think of pemphigus, but no oral ulcers, no bulla, only scale crust. So it is pemphigus foliaceous. Right. Now you are confident. So what is this? This is a tense bulla, like a balloon. So if I tell you tense bulla, pemphigus is ruled out. You will think of pemphigoid. Tense bulla with itching and urticaria. You are not seeing any oral ulcers and you are not seeing any acantholytic cell. So no acantholytic cell, no pemphigus. So tense blister, you will think of bullous pemphigoid. Right. Whoa, what a beautiful structure. You can see tense vesicles. Let's zoom it. Tense vesicles, how are they arranged? They are arranged like string of pearls, right? So they are arranged like string of pearls. Tense vesicle in a pattern of string of pearls or cluster of jewels. What will you think? Sir, we have not discussed this. How can we say? So remember it. This pattern is seen in linear IgA disease in adult or CBDC, chronic bullous disease of childhood in children. What was it? What was linear IgA disease? It was subepidermal blistering disorder like bullous pemphigoid. We have seen in the mnemonic BPAG. BPAG, A stands for IgA disease, linear IgA disease. So in linear IgA disease in adult or in CBDC of children, we see string of pearls appearance plus tense vesicle. And what is the level of split? Subepidermal like bullous pemphigoid. Clear. Now what is this? We have a lady with multiple excoriations. See here. So the lady has got papulovesicular lesions, means what? Tiny vesicles all over her body, mainly over extensor, elbows and knees, and they are so itchy that the patient has scratched everything. They are all excoriation. You are not able to see a frank vesicle because they have all been scratched due to itching. And you have associated gluten enteropathy. The moment you heard gluten enteropathy, that is gluten sensitivity. So patient can't have gluten in his or her diet. So now the diagnosis is dermatitis herpetiformis. So the name herpetiformis. Sir, is it related to herpes? No, it is not related to herpes. It is immunobullous disorder. It is not an infection. Herpetiformis is a misnomer, right? Dermatitis, the word dermatitis was kept because the patient used to scratch a lot. So the clinicians felt that it is a form of dermatitis, but actually it is a immunobullous disorder. What was the antibodies were directed to? Epidermal transglutaminase. And were they IgG or IgA? They were IgA antibodies in dermatitis herpetiformis. Name me 3 conditions of immunobullous disorder where we see IgA antibodies. Normally in bullous pemphigoid we see IgG, pemphigus vulgaris we see IgG. What about dermatitis herpetiformis? IgA. Where else you will see IgA? In the one that we have discussed, linear IgA disease and chronic bullous disease of childhood. So 3 disorders: dermatitis herpetiformis, linear IgA disease and CBDC. Here in all the 3 conditions we will have IgA antibody, right? So let us discuss a question. So dietary restriction. So the question is about diet. So dietary restriction in a case of dermatitis herpetiformis are all except. So what diet will you give and what diet we will not give? So we have learned that gluten enteropathy, it is associated with dermatitis herpetiformis. So we will give gluten free diet. So is it barley, is it wheat, is it rice or is it oats? What will you restrict and what can you give? So let us discuss the treatment of dermatitis herpetiformis in short. So if I ask you the drug of choice for dermatitis herpetiformis, What is the drug of choice? It is dapsone. Dapsone, remember dapsone. Dapsone, where else have you read dapsone? In leprosy. So leprosy also uses dapsone as a part of MDT kit. So drug of choice for dermatitis herpetiformis, if I ask you, you will say dapsone. But only dapsone is not sufficient. You need to give gluten-free diet, because these patients will exacerbate. The activity of disease will increase if they have gluten in their diet, because they have gluten sensitivity. So gluten-free diet, what does that include? Can you eat pizza? No, you can't eat pizza. You will say, sir, I eat healthy food, I eat oats. You can't eat oats. Sir, then what can I eat? So remember the mnemonic BROW, BROW, barley, rye, oat and wheat. These all contain gluten and hence cannot be given in a case of dermatitis herpetiformis. So you cannot give barley, you cannot give rye, you cannot give oats and you cannot give wheat. Sir, then what's left? Well guys, do you like South Indian food? You can have rice idli, correct? So rice is allowed. Remember, rye is not allowed, rice is allowed. So coming back to our question, so what is restricted? Barley, is it restricted? Yes, it's restricted. Wheat, can you give? You can't give. So wheat also is restricted. Rice, idli, we can give. So answer is rice. Oats, we cannot give. So these three things, barley, wheat and oats, we cannot give. Rice is allowed. What was the fourth in the mnemonic? BROW. R stands for rye, not rice, right? So come on, we have another scenario for you. So we have a lengthy question with a image and 4 options. Now always look at the last line. So the question is asking most likely diagnosis. So we have to look for the clues in the question. What are the clues? The clues are the patient is child and presenting with tense vesicles and having appearance of string of pearls. String of pearls, remember we have just discussed. So as you can see in the image, what can you see? We have appearance, some annular pattern is there, small tiny vesicles, tense vesicles with string of pearl appearance. So what is the diagnosis here? What is the diagnosis? Is it bullous impetigo? Bullous impetigo is what? It is a bacterial infection. It is not. It is pemphigus? No sir, it is not pemphigus. Is it CBDC, chronic bullous disease of childhood? Yes my friend, that is the correct answer. Can it be dermatitis herpetiformis? No. In dermatitis herpetiformis we see what? Papulovesicles that are all excoriated, scratched because of itching, right? And the site is elbows and knees in dermatitis herpetiformis. Here string of pearls. Keep in mind, what is the diagnosis? CBDC, chronic bullous disease of childhood. If I say it was an adult with similar lesions, you would think of linear IgA disease, because both are same spectrum, right? So if you are given a histological image, then you can use it as a clue. So once you see image of intraepidermal split, you will think of pemphigus. So if you see gap in the epidermis, so you see epidermis and there is a gap, you will think of pemphigus. Now sometimes they are going to ask you, is it vulgaris or foliaceous? So remember, suprabasal split, row of tombstones. Suprabasal split, row of tombstone appearance. This is what? Pemphigus vulgaris, right? And what about this? So we have here subcorneal cleft. So we have, see here, we have a stratum corneum layer below which there is the split and rest of the epidermis is still present. So this is subcorneal cleft. So subcorneal cleft is seen where? It is seen in pemphigus foliaceus. Subcorneal split is seen in pemphigus foliaceus, whereas suprabasal split with row of tombstone, pemphigus vulgaris. Isn't it easy? Right. Again, fishnet pattern is seen in pemphigus. So if they give you a clue of DIF with fishnet pattern, then the diagnosis is pemphigus. Which type of pemphigus? Foliaceus or vulgaris? It can be seen in both. Then you have to decide whether the patient is having oral ulcers. If the patient is having oral ulcers and such pattern, the diagnosis will be pemphigus vulgaris. So we have discussed intercellular deposits of IgG and C3. So these are all intercellular deposits, correct? Okay, so what is this? This is subepidermal cleft. Subepidermal cleft, we have seen this image already. We have epidermis above and a gap, and the dermis is below. Subepidermal cleft, it is seen in three conditions. Please remember, bullous pemphigoid, pemphigoid gestationis, and number 3 is linear IG disease or CBDC. It can be seen in multiple conditions, but these three can be asked in your exam, right? So here comes the question. Disorders showing subepidermal split are all except. Come on, think. So let's see one by one. Is it bullous pemphigoid? Or can we see subepidermal split in bullous pemphigoid? Yes, we can. Pemphigus foliaceus. Do we see subepidermal split? No. We see intraepidermal split. So here is the answer. Pemphigus foliaceus, we will see intraepidermal, not subepidermal. Pemphigoid gestationis. Pemphigoid will show subepidermal. Linear IG disease also will show subepidermal. Clear? Okay. Now we have another direct immunofluorescence. We have seen fishnet pattern was for pemphigus. Here we can see linear deposits, a line, we can see a line of immunofluorescence that is going, that is highlighting the dermoepidermal junction. So linear deposits of IgG and C3 are seen in pemphigoid, right? But if I say they are not IgG, they are IgA, then what's your diagnosis? Linear IgA disease. The name itself is having the antibody are IgA, not IgG here. So linear deposit of IgA, linear IgA disease, or if CBDC, if the patient is child, right? Here comes another clinical scenario. Now the last line is most likely diagnosis. So the question is asking about the diagnosis. We have image also. What the image is showing? Flaccid bulla and erosions, right? So what are the clues here? Clues are flaccid blisters and buccal mucosal ulcers plus Zank smear is positive. These three things combined, what do you think the diagnosis is? Oral ulcers, flaccid blisters, Zank smear positive. No need to think it's pemphigus vulgaris, right? So pemphigus vulgaris is the answer. Mark it and move ahead. No need to look at other options in the exam. But right now we are discussing, so pemphigus foliaceus, is it pemphigus foliaceus? No. Why? Because flaccid blisters are not seen in pemphigus foliaceus. We see crusts. Do we see ulcers in the oral cavity in pemphigus foliaceus? No. We see them in vulgaris. What about dermatitis herpetiformis? No. Bullous pemphigoid will not have oral ulcers, will not have flaccid blisters. It will have tense blisters, right? So isn't it easy to approach this clinical scenario? One more scenario for you. So again, what it is asking? Most likely diagnosis. Now you look at the image. Now as soon as you see the image, what should click your mind? Fish net pattern seen in pemphigus. So what are the clues? Painful blisters where? Mucosa and genital area. So they are not mentioning skin lesion, they are talking about genital lesions and some oral ulcers. Now we have suprabasal split on histopathology. As soon as you hear the suprabasal split, what you should think? Pemphigus vulgaris, right? Now let's look at the options. We have pemphigus vulgaris in the option, right? Do we have pemphigus foliaceus in the option? No. So no need to worry about anything. As soon as you see fishnet pattern, look at the options. You have pemphigus, mark it. If you had two options, one pemphigus foliaceus, one pemphigus vulgaris, then you need to look at the clues. Otherwise we know fishnet pattern is for pemphigus, right? Okay, here comes last year's question. It was quite a difficult question. What they have asked here? They have asked you to arrange these 4 disorders from top to bottom depending upon the level of split. So we have seen pemphigus was superficial, split was superficial. So pemphigus vulgaris is one of the option. Other option is epidermolysis bullosa dystrophic. Epidermolysis bullosa dystrophic, what does it mean? It is a genetic disorder that I have told you, presents in children and infancy, right? So epidermolysis bullosa dystrophic in fact presents at birth. So it is a genetic disorder, it is not a immunobullous disorder. Pemphigus is immunobullous, epidermolysis bullosa dystrophic is a genetic disorder, right? Other disorder is linear IgA disease. The fourth one is bullous pemphigoid. Now we have to arrange this from top to bottom. So before discussing this, let's have a quick look at the basement membrane zone. So friends, this is a picture of dermoepidermal junction. So this whole constitutes dermoepidermal junction. So dermoepidermal junction, what we have? We have one layer of basal keratinocytes. Now we know basal keratinocytes are attached to each other with the help of desmoglein. So desmoglein helps attach the basal keratinocytes to each other. And what else we have at dermoepidermal junction? We have hemidesmosome. In that we have BPAG1 and BPAG2. One more important molecule here is type 7 collagen. So type 7 collagen is also present in dermoepidermal junction. And what was the disorder that was associated? Epidermolysis bullosa acquisita and epidermolysis bullosa dystrophic. So two disorders that are associated with type 7 collagen are EB dystrophic and EB acquisita. Right. So let's have a quick look. So this is superficial and we are going deeper. So superficial split pemphigus, the antibodies are targeted to desmoglein. What about BPAG1? We know it is bullous pemphigoid. What about BPAG2? We have 4. The mnemonic we had BPAG, 4 disorder associated with BPAG2. So topmost split will be pemphigus, below it will be bullous pemphigoid, and we have a whole group of disorders which will have split at the level of BPAG2. So if we arrange it sequentially, topmost will be pemphigus, and as we move down, the split will be deeper and deeper. And we have type 7 collagen, that is epidermolysis bullosa acquisita and dystrophic, right. So pemphigus at the topmost, EB dystrophic and acquisita at the bottom. Now we know the topmost part is pemphigus, the bottommost, the deepest layer that is having the split will be epidermolysis bullosa. What about the remaining middle layer? So we know bullous pemphigoid can happen because of BPAG1 as well as BPAG2. So if I tell you, in a patient, if the defect is in BPAG1, antibodies are produced against BPAG1 and he will develop lesions of bullous pemphigoid. So in that case scenario, pemphigus will be first, second number will be bullous pemphigoid when we go from top to bottom. Then comes the linear IgA disease at position 3, right. So we are doing this from top to bottom, pemphigus first, bullous pemphigoid second, then linear IgA disease, that is due to BPAG2, that is present below the BPAG1, then ultimately at the bottommost will be epidermolysis bullosa. So this is the order. Now let's go back to the question. So the question is asking us to arrange these 4 disorders from top to bottom. Now the topmost we know it's pemphigus. So we have pemphigus at the topmost position. So 1. So 1 we have common in all the 4 options. What about the bottommost? Bottommost we know is epidermolysis bullosa dystrophic. So at last will be 2. 1 at the start, last will be 2. So let's have a look at the options. Which option is matching? 1 in the initial and second at the end. So it is option A. Simple. No need to focus on the remaining 2 disorders because we have got the only one answer is having 1 at the end and 2 at the last. But since we are discussing, we have seen that bullous pemphigoid can happen superficially as compared to linear IgA disease. So we have bullous pemphigoid at second position and third position we have linear IgA disease, right. So both the disorders, linear IgA disease and bullous pemphigoid, can be at same level if the antibodies are against BPAG2. But if the antibodies are against BPAG1, it will cause bullous pemphigoid. That will be superficial to linear IgA disease, which is related to BPAG2. So we have at position second bullous pemphigoid, at position third we have linear IgA disease, and at the end we have epidermolysis bullosa dystrophic. Clear? Simple. So this concludes our discussion on immunobullous disorders. Hope you guys have enjoyed my show. Now please remember to revise your notes multiple times and discuss that with your friends. Alright, that was all for today. Stay tuned for the next show. Goodbye.